All right, what's up, you guys? We have a good fight coming up this weekend. Shakur Stevenson against Jamel Herring on ESPN. This is going to be for Herring's WBO junior lightweight title. All right, this is going to be like his fourth title defense or something. So it should be a good fight. Two southpaws, highly technical fighters. Big test for both. You know, I keep hearing people say that this is a test for Shakur Stevenson. I also think it's a test for Jamel Herring. All right, and I'll explain why in a minute. But I won't be able to cover this fight, unfortunately. You know, I would love to cover this fight and do live commentary because I love the matchup. It's a fight I wanted to see. I've been wanting to see it. I wanted to see Shakur really step up and how he looks when he steps up. All right, and this is that fight right here. But I won't be able to cover it, unfortunately, all right? But as soon as the fight is done, I'll definitely give you my review and thoughts like I normally would. All right, but let's talk about the fight. Shakur Stevenson, man, 24-year-old silver Olympic medalist, all right? Silver. He's won a title at 126, a vacant title. He beat Christopher Diaz. I think Christopher Diaz and Joel Gonzalez is probably the two most notable names on his record. All right. And those fights were at 126. Since he's moved up, you know, he kind of moved up at a time like right before the pandemic. He's been active, but he hasn't fought any of the super elite yet at 130. You know, he's been kind of wanting the top fights. Was trying to get the Oscar Valdez down at 126 and 130, but Oscar moved up as well. And, you know, he's become a champion up at 130, all right, and beating Miguel Burchell. So, Shakur is a special talent to me already. You know, I've often compared him to a Money Mayweather. You know, when I say that, I mean Money Mayweather specifically, not Pretty Boy Floyd. You know, Pretty Boy Floyd was definitely a lot more offensive, you know, and he used to stop guys a lot more. He used to be a lot more flashy. Why I compare Shakur to Money May is because of the defense. You know, he fights like a very mature, seasoned fighter for his age, okay? And he's one of the best defensive fighters in there. In fact, I think people don't give him enough credit for his offense because of the fact that he's not a knockout artist, okay? He dominates his opponents by the rounds, all right? He rarely ever loses any rounds at all. But people really know him for his defense, you know? He's very, very slick. He has very quick reflexes. Very quick hands, moves well, has a mixed bag of tricks. I mean, he can literally do everything, okay? I think the one thing people complain is, you know, people going to complain about his resume, who he's facing. People's going to complain, like, or say that, oh, maybe he's probably chinny. People are going to say that he doesn't have the power, all right? But he has the skills, and I think out of the younger guys, I think he has the most full bag of tricks. Like he can literally, I've seen him do literally everything against different types and different styles of opponents, just not at the elite level yet. Okay, he's getting there, and this is going to be a great step up for him. But he still has he still has ways to go, but he's sharp, man, and he's been that way since he's been a pro. You know, he's very, very great talent, and I think he has a very high ceiling. You know, I can see him being a future pound for pound type of fighter. You know, a top 10 pound for pound type of fighter down the line. All right. So anyway, let's talk about him, and let's talk about Herring. Let's talk about Herring a little bit. Herring, 35 years old. Okay. A lot more experience, obviously. Guy that's fought and been, you know, a career lightweight, all right? Moved down several fights ago, won a title down at 130, all right? Picked up Bomac as his trainer. I think that was a great job to do that. I think he's been a little bit more aggressive since he switched with Bomac, okay, when he was on 135. He's always tall. He's 5'10", you know, he has a 72-inch reach. Big height and reach advantage against Shakur Stevenson, who's only 5'7". All right, but he's been, you know, he's a guy too that can mix it up pretty well. You know, he knows how to fight a rangy, long distance fight. Has a great jab, has a great check right hook. Attacks the body well. He's well conditioned, and he's a very classy guy. You know, I like him as a person. I really like him, and it's hard. You can't really root against a guy like that. You know, former Marine, had a great story. Lost his daughter, unfortunately, but he's been through a lot, man, and he's been able to pick up a title, and you know, this is his 4th title defense. And, you know, he had a couple of losses, too. At 135, he hasn't lost at 130. But at 135, he lost to Ladarius Miller. He lost Denis Shafikov as well. And, you know, he was stopped by Shafikov. Shafikov was very short, but very aggressive, you know. And both of those fighters were southpaws, you know. And that was the one thing I noticed when I do these breakdowns, you know, especially when I'm watching breaking down a southpaw. I like to see, you know, how they look against orthodox fighters, southpaw. That's the first thing I do every single time I do one of these breakdowns. And these are 2 southpaws fighting each other. And Shakur has been in there with a couple southpaws as well. And recently for Toka Khan Cleary, who I believe was a southpaw. But Jamel Herring, both of his losses were to southpaws. I know it was at a bigger weight, but both of those losses was to southpaws, and we can't forget that. Ladarius Miller, if you want to see him, if you want to check him out, that's the fight that you want to look at. Shafikov is a different type of fighter, very aggressive, short, likes to get low, you know, duck and counter with big looping shots, more of a power guy, very aggressive fighter. Shakur doesn't really fight like that. But Ladarius Miller, more of us on the slick side. All right, 2 fighters, 2 technicians. That fight was between 2 technicians, 2 counter punchers, just trying to tag each other. You know, it wasn't really much action in the fight. But I do remember watching both fights live, and I do believe that Miller won the fight. All right, I thought he did win on points. You know, I thought that was a good decision. But since then, since those losses, Jamel Herring has come down to 130. He's picked up a title. He's picked up his a few good wins. He beat Carl Frampton, which, you know, on paper, because of the name, it's a good win to have because of Carl Frampton and his name and his success as a boxer. But in my opinion, Carl was trying to do the impossible, going up to 130. He's a very, very small guy, and trying to beat Jamel Herring to become like the third or the only fighter to win 3 titles in 3 different divisions. The only Irish fighter, I believe he's Irish, not Scottish. All right, correct me if I'm wrong. But anyway, he couldn't get it done, you know. And Jamel, much bigger, longer, and just dominated Carl Frampton, you know. So on paper, that is the best name that's on Jamel Herring's record in his resume, but on paper, but not in my opinion. I thought Roach Jr. was a better opponent, a better fight. You know, Ito, when he won his title, was a good fight. And again, you know, the losses he had even were, you know, against better fighters to me at those weight divisions. You know what I'm saying? So, anyway, Jamel Herring is a mix. I mean, like, again, he can really do it all. I don't think he has the talent that Shakur has. I think Shakur has a special talent. I think if anything, if anyone's were to get exposed, it would probably be Shakur's chin, because that's the one thing I haven't really seen get tested or get hit hard. I haven't seen him get rocked. You know, he's so defensively gifted. I see him get caught with shots at times, but it's rare where he rarely makes mistakes, you know. And he's very well conditioned as well, you know what I'm saying? Like, I think people just don't like him maybe because he's boring. Some people just feel that he doesn't have the power to knock out. And I do agree with some of that. You know, I think that the level of fighters he's fought, for the most part, he should have stopped. You know, I think his fight against Nakatalia. It was his last opponent. I know he was an African fighter. I didn't like the fact that, I think Shakur was just being too relaxed. I think the Toka Cleary fight, he was more aggressive, but he just couldn't stop the guy. But the Nakatalia fight was just kind of like, all right, you know what? You're clearly better than this guy. Hit him with something that hurts. I just to compare the two, because people compare him and Devin Haney often. Devin Haney, people say that Devin Haney doesn't have the power as well, but Devin Haney is more of a risk taker. He's very good defensively as well, but he takes more risk. You can tell that he's trying to fight his opponent. Shakur is just, sometimes he's too cautious. He's too defensive, that, maybe that'll change at some point, but then again, maybe that might leave him open for a big shot that he probably wouldn't want to take. Jamel, what I see his strengths here is definitely his reach. He can definitely use it to his advantage. Firing his back foot, move laterally, try to avoid moving to his right so he doesn't walk right into Shakur's left hands. They're both southpaws again, so hopefully laterally move away from the stronger hand. I think the best opportunities he has against Shakur, because I think Shakur is going to be the one that's going to be coming forward more. All right. I do think Shakur, even though he's shorter, doesn't have the reach, I think Shakur is the more physically stronger fighter. And I think in the inside, he would do better work on the inside. All right. So I think Jamel, his best punches will be that straight left hand followed up by the jab. I know Shakur tends to get popped with some jabs on his way in at times, all right? And if he's timed correctly, a follow up with that jab with a straight left hand by Jamel Herring. And I think that'll be the punch. If you hit him right or you catch him on the chin good enough, I think you might can drop him, like similar to like, Linares dropped Loma, like a shot that you just won't see coming. You're coming forward, you're being aggressive, and you get hit with a jab, and then you don't see that left hand that's following up. That'll be the punch too, as well as the right hook. He has a great, beautiful check right hook. That's probably his best punch. Great timing on that shot. I don't think he has the athleticism that Shakur has, right? Shakur is very quick. He has better reflexes. He's able to get out of and slip shots quicker. All right. But, sometimes Shakur tends to lunge in with his jab. He shoots like a long jab, a step jab, but it's really out distance, sometimes to the body. And I think, I think Jamel Herring could definitely time him and counter him with a right hook. I don't know if it's going to hurt him, but he definitely has tools. He definitely can go to the body as well. Shakur, on the other hand, I think this might be a fight where we might see a little bit more of his tricks. Like I said, he has a mixed bag, but since he's fighting a fighter that is on a different level, it might have to force him. And I think it will happen. I think Jamel's going to force him to use more tools, okay? He's not going to just be using that Philly shell. I think he's going to be coming forward, and he's going to be using that high guard, and he's going to be looking to work more on the inside. I think he's going to really show us his inside game. Try to be, try to bully Jamel. Jamel, again, even though I think he's more aggressive now with Bomac, I don't think he's as physically strong as Shakur Stevenson, and I don't think he's as aggressive on the inside. Jamel can definitely hold his own, and he could definitely go to the body as well, but not on the level of Shakur. I think Jamel, a lot of things he's going to do is going to be reactionary. Like when he gets tagged to the body or tagged up top, he's going to be trying to throw back, and by that time, Shakur is not even going to be there. Shakur's reflexes is so quick that he can lose his legs. His feet could be quicker than Jamel's hands at times. You're going to see him dodging shots by using his feet, stepping in and out. He doesn't always have to slip or parry shots and stuff. He's gonna always he can use defense from all kind of different ways. So I think Shakur is gonna be coming in. He's gonna be the aggressor. But he's gonna be looking to tag to the body, throw combination, but slip out of there and escape before Jamel has enough time to react to it. Because Jamel, unfortunately for Jamel, even though he's a well-rounded fighter, he just doesn't have the athleticism as Shakur Stevenson does, or the reflexes as Shakur is quicker, and he's very twitchy, right? So he's very like cat-like. So anyway, I think overall, Jamel, as good of a fighter as he is, and as much as I respect him, I see Shakur beating him on points. You know, I think Shakur, if he really wants to impress, he can do. You know, I can see it going in two ways. You know, I mean, listen, and I don't want to sound like I'm completely counting Jamel out, because I think Jamel, if he does win, I think it'll be like a shocking type of like. I think he would have to hurt Shakur. You know, I don't think he can just outbox him consistently through the rounds. I think he would have to hurt Shakur, whereas Shakur, I think he could possibly hurt Jamel. I think he can possibly just dominate Jamel on points. Or I could think he might have a tough one with Jamel, but I still think he'll pull the fight off. I think we might see Shakur get hit more than we're used to seeing him get hit, but I don't know if it's going to be enough to a point where Jamel is going to beat him. You know, I have Shakur Stevenson winning this by unanimous decision, man, in a good fight, a good test for him, and he will become champion, actually beating a champion, because the last belt he won in the last division was a vacant title. All right, so it'll be a good win, and hopefully down the line we could get some kind of unification. But I have Shakur winning this one. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you guys after the fight. Peace.